Space, the final frontier.
Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right.
Let's see what's out there. Engage.
Hello and good evening. Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 12, The Big Goodbye is over. And it has been since January of 1988. But we're just getting started here in this August of 2024. Almost, 30-something years later to talk about this episode of Star Trek The Next Generation as we continue our ongoing mission to watch and discuss all episodes of that show here on this podcast, here on Live Long and Podcast. And hold on to your caboose dicks, because this is all about the big goodbye. We got a bunch of gangsters here ready to break this all down. First up, we got the man himself, Mr. Eel. It's Davan Skelhorn.
Eel, Mr. Eel, walked onto a podcast with a pocket full of nothing and a heart full of cold. Cold like the night that fell hard as the rain that makes the mildew and cigar on my coat smell like the ashtray I found my last drink in. And if you listen to any woman in my life, put out the fire, my fire in. Pleasure to be here.
Well said, Mr. Eel. Well said. Coming up next, it's the band with I don't know how to top that or how to transition from that interest, but it's Jeff Mader.
Hey, looking good, kid. How you doing? Ready to, recap another episode of TNG from the 1930s,
40s. Close enough. And coming in last here, we have another East Coaster. She's got it all dolled up. It's Heather Narduzzi.
Watch it, caboose, dicks.
I lost a bet. That's why I'm wearing the bellboy outfit. Well, obviously this is the 12th episode of the series, and we're gonna break this all down. This is maybe the very first holodeck specific episode, at least a holodeck hijinks episode where the holodeck malfunctions and people are trapped inside and there's some danger. And of course Dixon Hill, very integral to the Star Trek lore, the Captain Picard lore. And this episode, I forgot. Maybe I never knew, has Lawrence Tierney in it as this red block gangster. Lawrence Tierney from many different things,
You're
but
Mr. Pink.
Yeah. No, you're some other guy on some other jobs, Mr. Purple. You're Mr. Pink. He was, of course, Joe in Reservoir Dogs, and he was also in an episode of Seinfeld where he played Elaine's father.
Yep.
But he apparently got kicked off that set because he stole a knife or something, and they never had him back. I don't know. We can get all into the legends of Lawrence Tierney himself, but I was like, oh, he's in this episode. Interesting. And I had completely forgotten about what the big goodbye was even in reference to. Until you realize it's Dixon Hill speaking, or Captain Picard more specifically, speaking to this holodeck character at the end of the episode. He's like, wait, I'm not real? Are my kids not real? And he goes, I don't know, maybe. And that's sort of where he leaves it. But there's definitely sort of that moral ambiguity around the holodeck right from this very, very early episode. So let's get some impressions around the room. Mr. Eel, do you like this episode?
It was passable. Passable like the kidney stones that arrive every 6 months to remind me of the dirty puddle I've been soaking my feet in since the Jerry stuck my boots back in the bombed out alleys of Gay Perry. Does that answer your question?
Sure. The war is just getting started for the U.S. at this point, but hey, like it could be the case. Well, Jeff, how was this one for you? I don't know if when was the last time you watched The Big Goodbye?
Okay, I'll be honest. I never watched the first 2 seasons of TNG, so all these episodes are new to me for the most part. Like I saw an episode here and there, so they're all new to me, and I kind of like always looked at them as like the not great TNG episode. So so there's a couple things I noticed about this episode. One, I feel like Picard has no idea why he's a fan of Dixon or Dix, or he doesn't seem to know anything about it.
Right.
Which I found very strange because he's supposed to, but they're also doing all these gags of like the 24th century doesn't, know candy and all these different things.
Doesn't understand these nuances.
Right. And the other thing was I noticed how little music there is in this episode. Like especially like at the end, like right at the end when they're like ending the episode, I'm like, why is there no music? It's very quiet.
Right.
So those are the 2 things that I really stood out to me. But
Yeah. Okay. And Heather, how is this one for you? Or what's your mileage on The Big Goodbye?
I love a holodeck episode. I love period costumes. Crusher looks unbelievable, but we'll get to that later. As far as holodeck episodes go, it's a bit slow. It's the first introduction of the holodeck. It's the first season. And Picard seems just flabbergasted by the holodeck. Is the holodeck brand new technology at the time they made this? Like, do they only have them on Galaxy class starships? Because everybody is like amazed in childlike wonder at the holodeck,
Yes, I think that is the intent here in this, especially in this first season, where they're like, no, the holodeck is kind of a brand new technology, and more specifically, all the Galaxy class ships have it, and other ships don't. However, as the later seasons went on and other Star Trek shows came along, like Voyager, Deep Space Nine, that sort of felt like it got retconned to a certain degree. That maybe holodecks were kind of around, because Harry Kim talks about playing in the holodeck as a kid, and he would not be a kid at this time. He'd be like a teenager. So I don't know, maybe they're not as sophisticated, wherever like maybe civilians can access them. Maybe these are just more sophisticated holodecks or something. More.
You're telling me that what Harry Kim wasn't as brilliant of a holodeck student as Wesley Crusher?
Apparently not.
Wesley Crusher did study some of the manuals, so.
And then therefore he's second in command to Geordi.
That is correct. Yeah.
Geordi was subservient to him in this episode, where Geordi's got his degree in engineering. You think he would be able to be a little bit more hands-on here. I know he's not the chief engineer yet, but it's not like he doesn't know what to do this. But I don't know. They got to give Wesley something to do. So I agree with Heather that the episode's a bit slow, and I'm like, how many close-ups are we gonna do before we like move out of this room at the end? Because I was conscious of time, and I was like, because I just finished the rewatch right before we went on the air here, and I'm like, okay, like you have a guy bleeding to death on the ground. I think you can move along here.
Not a main character, Dave.
That's fine.
Does not matter.
Does not matter. Okay, and then the other stuff I had forgotten about in this episode was like the Dr. Crusher Picard flirting, and them being more whatever you want to call it, I guess. Like, I was like, they were more annoyed that Data and that historian guy were even there. They wanted to get it on. Oh,
they totally did. And then Data and the historian were like, guess what? We're coming too.
Yeah, and they're like,
yikes, cop block.
Dr. Crusher, not impressed there. Like the episode's got some charm to it for sure. The one thing that kind of bugged me, just being Canadian, was the scene at the beginning with Picard and Troy, where they're learning how to pronounce the words of the whatever they're called, these insect aliens.
The Harada.
And they kept calling it letter Z instead of Z. I'm like, come on. Marina Sirtis and Patrick Stewart would say Z. Like, let's get real here. But that's not how it's scripted. Data's a little bit annoying in this episode. I don't know if his bits necessarily work as well for me.
He looks great thoh in
He
that
looks great,
pinstripe. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, he looks fine. Yeah, he's from South America. Really.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they look down there.
I think Argentina, if anywhere.
I could buy Argentina. Maybe near the mountains.
He's an Iceman.
He's an Iceman. That's true. Just like Jaden. Okay, well, here, let's run through the screenshots and plot wise. There's not a ton to break down here. As we're heading up there, I mean, with these guys, anyone remember the name of those aliens?
Harada.
Harada with a J. Harada, yeah, and he's trying to learn how to learn this complex language, which is, if he doesn't nail the greeting in their language exactly right, it's going to offend them. And apparently, the last captain to try offended them like for 20 years, and Picard is trying to get it down. Apparently, this is Troy's area of expertise in coaching.
I'd like to point out that Troy's eyeshadow again matches the V sash of her belt. Last time it was coral belt and eyeshadow, and now it's sage green. Lovely.
I'm glad you're here for these observations because I didn't put that together. But
what is up with the hair?
Oh yeah, that's her first season hair. They got her smushed into a real tight bun and slapped some gems on top of it. And then when they want her to look extra fancy, they pin a ponytail out the back of it like they did in Haven last week.
That's true. Yeah. A lot going on with the hair here, but yeah, like you can tell that Picard is stressed. He's a little out of it, and then she's like, "You have time. You can take you can go use the holodeck." He's like, "Dixon Hill." Yes, go do some Dixon Hill. Not worry so much about these pronunciations. So goes down to the holodeck, turns it on, and we see, like this is kind of an amazing thing to imagine, and I know we have video games and stuff that create some pretty cool artificial realities, but this is, sort of off the chart. And I still think that like depicting the holodeck in this way, I guess we take it for granted after 40 something years of Star Trek and other versions of this now, but I think it's still pretty cool, like to see the wonder. Although, yeah, clearly, this is brand new for Picard. We run into his secretary Ruby, who will later reprise this role in Star Trek First Contact, the film, some like 10 years after this. But yeah, she's making fun of Picard because they can tell that he's not wearing the suit. He's not, he's wearing the Starfleet uniform. And sometimes holodeck characters do detect this kind of stuff, and sometimes they don't. That part's also inconsistent throughout all kinds of different Star Treks. But she's going off for a date, and he's getting, really settled into this setting where he meets his first client. She was a dame, and she was up to no good. She was up for trouble. She'll end up being murdered, although she's a fictional character. But someone wants to kill me. I need you I need to hire you, Mr. Hill, so you can help me and figure out who it is. $20 a day plus expenses is his fee.
Woo!
Watch out.
That opening made me laugh. Laugh like the time I strangled the worthless life out of that guy who cut me off in traffic on my way to the funeral of the last guy who cut me off in traffic. Maybe he cut me off, maybe he didn't. The important thing was the laughs. Wouldn't you agree?
We'll call you Davan Noir tonight. Let's go to
Gene Roddenberry would be proud.
Gene Roddenberry proud. Of course, the big goodbye, the title card. I love this shot of the Enterprise that we get for the beginning of the episode. I think this is a reuse of the shot from the pilot, but they changed the background maybe.
Oh, they would never reuse a shot.
No, they would never reuse a shot. Not in this show. Oh, clearly I was going to take a few shots here. I didn't have a chance to edit these screenshots, so some of them aren't great. Please forgive me. Yeah, this is where she was giving him. Oh yeah, and the lipstick where she gives him this big smooch, right? The holodeck character Picard, after taking one of his cards. That will be the evidence. Also, this episode written by Tracy Torme. Like once again, the son of Mel Torme, and maybe. Speaking to the fact that there's no music in this episode. I know Mel Torme would not be period accurate for this time, but you think maybe they could have brought one of his songs in here with his son being a writer.
How do you do a period episode and not like throw some music in there? It makes no sense.
They couldn't afford it. It was a tough time coming off the Depression.
The 40s.
Yeah, the war was on. Yeah, so Picard selling to his Dixon Hill character, looking out the window, seeing automobiles, everybody. Automobiles.
And he's just flabbergasted by the automobiles.
Yeah, like
That's like us being flabbergasted by horses.
or swords or like catapults or things that crossbows, things we don't use anymore, but obviously still are a thing. Wagons, I don't know, like there's various things. Anyway, we see like him being able to leave the program.
This is cool though, like seeing the holodeck doors open and the Enterprise hall there right outside of Dixon Hill's office, and they do another really cool shot of that later where you can see all the way down the Enterprise hall, which I thought was really neat because I feel like they don't do that in subsequent episodes. It was probably expensive.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like they're like, oh, we're going to set it up for this episode. And the holodeck exit is always in the exact same place, basically.
Yeah.
Right. So,
then Heather, you're a real hep-looking broad. You like Tommy Dorsey?
You know it.
Then this guy shows up. He'll come back later. He's whatever his name was. He's the guy who shoots the historian. Anyway, so Picard saves the settings here. We see that the lipstick is still on his face. Now,
it's obviously somebody took a lipstick and drew it on his face.
Right.
I call that the Glasgow smile.
Yeah, but wouldn't it disappear after he comes out of the holodeck? More inconsistent.
Well, that was my question too. But just like in the pilot, we saw Wesley Crusher fall into the water and he comes out wet. He doesn't suddenly become dry when he leaves the holodeck either.
Right.
So I don't know. Like, and we even see like the weirdest part of this episode is when the Redstone or the Lawrence Tierney hologram at the end, who walks out into the hallway, and then he takes like a few minutes for him to dissolve.
Yeah, they're the Wicked Witch of the West and the Wizard of Oz. They're melting.
Woo!
Yeah. But that was bizarre, and something they obviously don't keep going with in future the holodeck episodes. They show that you can't even put your arm outside of a holodeck grid, right? If you're a hologram, but I don't know. They hadn't quite worked out the kinks here. All the other officers noticing that lipstick on Picard's face as he's walking.
Like, who's he been having sex with? What's going on?
Yeah. Is he Dr. Crusher?
Yeah,
could be. Well, that the gossip on the Enterprise is
Crusher. I barely know her.
The hot goss.
I'm gonna replace her next season. You wait.
But then we'll bring her back. Don't worry, it's all gonna come through here.
So this meeting definitely could have been an email. Picard seriously just tells them about the holodeck and then is like, "Okay, great meeting, everybody. See ya."
Exactly. He's talking about automobiles, which Worf apparently doesn't know what they are.
No.
Which I'm like, I think he should know what they are.
Why is Wesley in this meeting?
Unclear.
Okay.
Because he's an acting ensign, I guess. He needs to learn about teenage mating rituals. That's also what the use of the cars are. I don't know. This meeting is bizarre. They were here to talk about like their meeting with the Shelley or the Harada. I'm sorry. This is where she takes the lipstick off his face. And then,
Riker's like, yeah, there's some chemistry there.
Riker loves it. Like
this is where Picard starts talking about kissing on the holodeck, and Riker had been like, "Oh my god, this meeting," and then kissing on the holodeck. Riker's like, "Tell me more."
Yeah, he's like, "This is better than my flute girls from last week."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then he's like, "You should come sometime, Dr. Crusher," and she's like, "I like that," but he doesn't seem that excited by it when she actually accepts right away. It's not until she's in the dress. Oh yeah, and then the meeting turns into talking about the Harada, and then Data's like, "If you screw this up, it's gonna be really bad. So don't." And then Troy and the rest of them like, "Don't tell him that." He's like, "Why wouldn't you want me to tell him? What's up?" Then this is where Geordi's telling Data that, like, "Hey, I don't think you needed to tell him all that." He's like, "Why wouldn't he want me to tell him all the important information?"
Yeah, it's Geordi's first Data.
That is not
funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so then I don't know, something spurs in Data that he wants to go learn about Dixon Hill. I'm not sure what what exactly motivated him, other than hearing about Picard talk about it in the meeting. But we see here that Dixon Hill, ridden by Tracy Torme,
yeah.
in the canon as well. So I don't know. I wonder if this Tracy Torme is also the son of Mel Torme in the Star Trek universe.
Bet your ass.
You bet your ass he is. So yeah, there's a lot of like
twins, Tracy and Tracy.
Tracy. Yeah, Dixon Hill in the long dark tunnel. That's one title.
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery. Yeah, like some of these newspaper articles that come up.
Yeah, is he reading it on like microfiche?
Like the headline here is handcuffs. Like, what's that?
Greenhorns is the other one.
Yeah, greenhorns. I took a few different shots. Yeah, but I guess that's all I got. But then we see Picard is now dressed for the part. He's heading onto the holodeck. He's got the fedora. He's got the trench coat. He's got the suit. This historian guy, who apparently his whole job is to be a 20th century historian expert. And I'm always like,
his job is to get shot.
but we've seen here that the Enterprise D, and like we saw it in the original series, that like the Enterprise has a series of historians on board at all times, just in case they're going to run into a 20th century thing or 21st century thing.
Dave, considering how the original series went, where they're running into the Nazis and they're running into Al Capone's gangsters, seems like a smart idea.
Right. What color uniform do you think this guy wears? Blue or yellow?
Red.
You think he's red?
Clearly. Pew, pew. He gets shot. That's it. That's all.
True. Yeah. Well, I guess I wouldn't mind being a historian on a starship. Like, you only get called up to do something maybe once a season, Well,
that's it. Nobody has to work for money. We're in a post-scarcity environment. So if you want to be a 20th century historian, have at her, bud. Carry on.
Yeah. That's a right. Dream job.
I did have one as well.
I used to get shot for a living too. Bickety boom.
Everyone's fancy and wears suits except for Davan, of course. Was he in the Neutral Zone episode coming up? He could have. Was he? I don't know if he was in the Neutral Zone. If we ever see this character again, we'll see that. I'll have to look that up when we get into the fun facts. Data shows up, of course, in his suit. Picard not expecting him, but yeah, he looks good in this getup. I need to get a hat like that. And then they head out into San Francisco, where I guess Dixon Hill is the guy.
This is the shot I'm talking about. Can you go back one? That's really neat, where you can see right down the hall. Of the Enterprise. That's cool.
And all the people walking around and whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that looked cool.
86?
87.
Or 87?
Well, it aired in 88, but they would have probably filmed
the show started in 87. Okay.
Pretty good. Like, I mean, that looks really good for considering what else was coming out at that time.
Dick Miller. My favorite Dick.
This guy?
Was in everything. Yeah, he was in everything. He was a Terminator. He was in a lot of things.
Isn't he like in the
Gremlins?
He's in Gremlins for sure, but isn't he also in the Bell Riots episode, the past tense?
Yep. He's in that episode too.
Yeah, I don't know. He's good in this. Yeah, he really feels like he belongs in this era. In the 1940s, they start talking about baseball, like and beating up the streak of the
London Kings.
Got no pitches. They never got no pitches.
Cleveland's got no pitchers.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Are you crazy?
Yeah, you mentioned the
London Kings. Yeah, is that a real team? That's not a team, is it? I don't know sports.
It might be in 2 years though.
Well, you never know.
Yes, no, the London, but that apparently was Buck Bokai's team, who was Cisco's favorite baseball player from the 21st century. So the idea that they were kind of presenting is that baseball would have expanded, I guess, to Europe and maybe some other places before eventually becoming so unpopular that no one plays it anymore.
What's crazy is the NFL probably will expand in the next 2 or 3 years to London.
But baseball?
I don't see it. I don't see that happening.
It'd be to even see baseball go to like Mexico City would be something,
Maybe it's London, Ontario.
Maybe it's London, Ontario. That's where the London Kings play. They never say for sure. No. So during this whole scene at the newsstand, this is where we get the whole South America bit and whatever. He has, of course, no money to pay for the newspaper, so he has to get a loan here. And then we find out that the client, the one who hired him in the beginning, has been killed.
Do we get an exact year, like exactly
41,
but the exact date? It says Hitler on the move, but it doesn't. Is this after? Is before Pearl Harbor?
It's probably before Pearl Harbor because it's but
Pearl Harbor's December.
But it seems like it's cold, cold enough to wear a trench coat.
Yeah.
So
in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Which Mark Twain said the coldest winter he ever spent was a summer in San Francisco. So it could be July.
The date doesn't
They have
matter.
microclimates.
Life is a long, dark tunnel. Every day looks the same.
Right. Exactly. It's Dixon Hill in the long, dark tunnel. Anyway, and so this guy shows up, this holodeck graphic cop to go after Dixon Hill. I know this guy from somewhere. I can't figure it out where I know this actor from.
Oh, yeah, I do know this guy.
He really reminds me of like the guy Barry Jenner, but I don't think he is Barry Jenner, but the guy who played Admiral Ross on Deep Space Nine.
Totally.
Yeah.
He looks like the $6 million man.
He's from, you know what? I think he was in JFK. He's in a certain scene in JFK where he's telling what's the guy who played Yondu?
Michael Rooker?
Michael Rooker. He's telling him like, you better keep your mouth shut. Like I'm pretty sure it's that guy.
Oh. Gates McFadden is also in that movie. Isn't she?
Gates McFadden?
Isn't she in JFK? Isn't she in JFK? Or maybe I'm thinking of Hunt for Red October.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this whole thing here where Dixon Hill, they get arrested. We're gonna take you downtown. They're all excited. They're like, oh, good, we get to go downtown because the murder victim had his business card. And I guess this is their hot lead.
Yeah, sure proof of arrest in 1941.
Yeah, she had a card.
You clearly did it.
You clearly did it. Back on the bridge, Riker is finding out that they're being scanned by the Harada, who of course they caused the original holodeck malfunction here with their crazy alien scanners, and they made
the doors open and close.
Yeah, like that's how you know it's really broken.
Yeah, it's bad.
But nobody else notices on the ship. So they get on the call here with the Riker, and the Harada were like, "We're talking in your language because you suck." But is the captain ready to talk to us? He's like, "Well, I'm the first officer. You're a subordinate. We don't want to talk to you. We only talk to the captain." So that's not going so well here. So Riker sends Geordi to go get Picard in the holodeck, and then. I think this is when Dr. Crusher shows up.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, she's got the stockings. She's got the whole thing. She got the gloves. She's going for the hat.
Real put together broad.
Yeah, she's got it all coming. The doors are kind of opening and closing on her, so she kind of gets in right before I guess the doors would not open at all.
Watch your caboose.
Watch out for them doors, toots.
Watch out for them doors. She heads in here, runs into Data and this historian guy whose name still escapes me. He's like, "Oh yeah, the captain's being interrogated. They got him under the lights. Oh, when do we all get to be interrogated? Why does he get all the fun?"
Wasn't his name Waylon?
Waylon, maybe. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, Waylon, played by David Silberg.
So they're all waiting for Picard to come out of the interrogation, and so we see this whole scene where Crusher's sitting next to this holographic woman. I guess Heather, what did you say she was doing here? Like checking out her makeup or look? Or...
I love this scene. She's looking over at this super sexy gal next to her, and she's like, "Hey, I should show a little more leg too. I'm going to get into it," and just like pulls up her skirt, and then is like, "That's right, girl."
I felt like she kind of closed up her shirt a little bit here.
No, she pulled up her skirt, and then after the gal got up, she kind of went like,
"Oh, okay." Yeah, it was interesting, like some interesting physical acting there.
Yeah, it was really cool. I really liked that scene.
Yeah, we see Picard here getting the interrogation from Buddy, and he's like, "You tell me where it is," And there's even I think the part where he even cracks. Oh, this is so good. Geordi says, "I can't open the holodeck. We got a problem here." And then Wesley wants to go try to help. And at first, Riker blows him off, the boy. But then Deanna's like, "But his mom's stuck on the holodeck, so you should bring him along." He goes, "Okay, yeah, you're right. Come on, Wes. We're going for a ride." Back to the interrogation. This is where I think Picard's like, "Yeah, this is the best." Again, Crusher checking out this woman with the makeup. her little mirror thing, and she's
Yes, because she's got all the same things in her purse, but she doesn't know what to do with them because, it's outdated, like little pat makeup. So I think that's what she's doing. She's observing the other woman and going, me too.
1941. That's right.
1941. Back in 39, I never thought I'd see 41, and I spent 1940 in a meat locker. If it weren't for the meat, I never would have made it out.
Well, it's done
I
wonders for your
still can't
disposition.
eat a rare steak.
But only one of us is actually 41 here. Me. Anyways, yeah, she's checking out, learning the thing. Yeah, this guy offers Crusher, the cop offers Crusher some gum and 2 tickets to the dance here. And they don't know any of the expressions, any of the slang.
He says, "You're a real het-looking broad," and she goes, "Is that good?"
He's like, "It can be. It ain't bad. It ain't bad.
It ain't bad.
Sure ain't bad."
She swallows that gum.
Yeah, she swallows.
Yeah,
it.
that
She's
was cute.
Yeah. Doesn't know what to do. And then Wesley has to start going through the holodeck program here again. Yeah, Jordy's like, "Carry on, Wes, carry on."
Why does Wesley have an eyepiece? Like, what is he looking at in the eyepiece?
I don't think we ever see that apparatus again.
No, because it's nonsense.
Yeah. Like
Adam says, "This started my lifelong crush on Crusher." I hear you, bud.
Yeah. You should hear his story when he met Gates McFadden in real life. It's really funny.
Oh, we'll have to have him tell it.
Yeah. It's probably better his wife tells it. Anyway. Yeah, so he's looking. So we got Wesley and Jordy trying to get the holodeck opened again. Yeah, this is where the cop, this cop friend of Dixon Hill, this holodeck character, gets off the bad cop, and he starts playing good cop. I guess Dixon Hill was a former policeman who went private eye as a character. Gives Picard this smoke.
This is wild. Smoking on Star Trek. Like, people don't smoke on TV anymore. That was crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely like something to watch here.
Yeah.
Him react to it and everything else. But of course, yeah, there would have been tons of smoking in this era. Yeah, pretty much everybody. And then he comes out. I love how what was his name? The historian again? Clancy or something? Wayland. Wayland Smithers. He's just looking at the light. He's like, "Oh wow, look at this light."
Just dazzled by it.
Dazzled by the light. And then we get the whole moment with Picard and Crusher here, where he notices her. I especially love her with those sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Wow, you look good. So do you." And like, it gets really like kind of awkward here. Like, wow, you got Wayland and Data here going, "Okay, what are we doing, boss?" Because I guess they're gangsters, even though they work for a private eye. And going along with the whole thing. And then this is just look at Picard and Crusher when they realize, oh yeah, these two are here too.
This is a great screenshot that really encapsulates their feelings about what just happened.
Yeah,
they were totally gonna go in his office and fool around on the desk.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it really makes me think of that time like Tiana and Shax in Star Trek Lower Decks were kind of doing like a Bonnie and Clyde thing, I think.
In my experience, the only difference between cops and gangsters is the initials on their underwear.
Where's it?
The eye roll here.
Love it.
There it is.
Love it.
Yeah, she's like, fine. Coming back, they come back to Dixon Hill's office, and they're still having more fun with it. And then this guy's here, whatever. He works for the bad guy. And he's like, "You will not disrespect me again, Mr. Hill." He's got
like what accent is that supposed to be?
I think he's supposed to be Italian.
I think maybe Italian, but I think generic, not from America, is what they're going for mostly.
Mr. Hill.
Mr. Hill.
I very much want to kill her.
Yeah. Oh, I had to pull up some of the Lower Decks quotes from Shax and Tiana.
Computer program.
What the hell? I was about to blast him.
What are we doing?
The usual. We off these feds, and once our blood's pumping, we'll do the nasty on the counter and make the hostages watch.
Oh, and her name was Diane in that world. Yeah. So anyway, So they're trying to get back into the holodeck. Riker's frustrated. This guy, they're going here. They all think it's a laugh. Waylon gets right in this guy's face. He's like, "I'm going to take your gun," and then he's like, "Give me the gun," and then he just shoots him as he goes down. They're like, "Oh, that's fun," but then they realize it's not. It's real blood, everybody.
Well, this is the best. Bev was clapping at it when it first happened, right? Like, this furthers my question about this is definitely the first time any of them's been in a holodeck, right? But it's like, someone got shot. Delightful.
Right. Have fun. Yeah.
Oh, no. This is real blood.
And it's like, oh, I'm a doctor now.
Yeah.
Right. So they realize there's the danger here. But what does Picard do? He just gets up and punches him and steals the gun. And sends him on his way.
Yeah.
You only have Data, a super fast robot that can really
fast
do
and
anything.
Strong and bulletproof for that matter.
Yeah.
But anyway, they can't get out. The exit doesn't work. They're stuck in the holodeck for the first time ever. Wesley and Geordi's still working on it. They can't figure it out. I need some light. And then this whole part where Data tries to bring the lamp over, but he unplugs the lamp and
as if he wouldn't understand.
like he read all those books really fast. I think there would have been a chapter about plugging a lamp in.
He is a robot. The fact that he knows how electrical currents work. He understands this.
Right.
He has the sum of all human knowledge and all galactic knowledge in his positronic brain. But what could this be?
A lamp?
Not a great gag, quite frankly. Okay, and then he's here, Lawrence Tierney himself.
Gosh, cigarettes, dames, you're speaking my language.
That's going to be on my tombstone.
Yeah. So you like to tell jokes, do you?
My favorite breakfast.
I feel like I might have this guy on my board for some reason. I don't know why I would, but
they gave him the bowler cap.
They gave him a bowler cap. Do you like the bowler cap, Jeff?
Yeah, I think it was the right choice because he has such a fat face. So it worked.
Right.
Tight fit.
Yeah, so he shows up and he's a gangster, and that guy that before they take them hostage. Oh yeah, and then who slapped my Italian friend here? I'm going to show you. They get Picard back. Give him a bloody lip.
Take that.
All through here. Why can I never find shit when I want? J.K. Lawrence. I thought I for sure had a Lawrence Tierney quote on here somewhere. Anyway, he's just. But anyway, so they going along here. This guy shows up, the friend of Dixon Hill from before, with a bottle of liquor in a brown bag.
Some scotch.
This is what you show up for with your friend. Hey, I saw the light was on.
Some scotch.
Let's get into it.
Shaking dicks.
What's shaking dicks?
They use a little rich.
Yeah. Anyway, they have them here. There's a lot. They even threatened they're gonna kill Crusher at one point. I'm like, they should have just said, "Why don't you kill Data? You should totally kill Data if you're gonna kill somebody."
Yeah, kill the South American.
Kill the South American. But I don't know, they want the item or whatever is this thing here. This guy gets punched again. He gets punched a lot, this hologram. And we see the guy dying on the ground. Riker's trying to stall with the Harada. And there's the one part,
why am I sitting in this chair? I hate this spot.
But there's this whole part where the audio starts going screechy from the Harada, their insect language or something, and then Worf doesn't even care. He's just he doesn't react to it at all.
Sounds like my ex-wife.
Exactly.
Worf?
Maybe mine too. Worf. Yeah, Worf's just like our ex-wives. Anyway, we see. Yeah, apparently Wesley's leading a whole team of engineers. Every engineer on the Enterprise works for Wesley now.
Well, he's the only one who can operate the Viewmaster, apparently.
That's true. I'm back on the holodeck. I don't know. Oh yeah, there's a whole part where they're trying to get this thing to reset, and then it goes to ice mode here for a second.
Wait, can you go back a frame? Okay, there was a blanket on him. I'm like, how did the blanket get on him?
Yeah. They kept the blanket, but everything else goes away. You know, and then they come back to the room. But yeah, there's kind of like the whole holodeck glitch here. We see the door open here. And what's the door like? What like what? Why isn't like Wesley and? Oh.
Sorry.
Seems like you're happy. Oh,
He's been hit.
she's been hit.
Oh, call sick bay.
Sandwich knocked over my webcam. Okay,
What is
I'm
that?
back.
What is it? Okay.
Holodeck malfunction. I'm back. I'm ready.
All right. No worries. Okay. But yeah, this is like outside this holodeck door. I was just saying, like Jordy and Wesley aren't there, and anybody else. It's like an empty room out here. So I guess they're at the other door. Does every holodeck have two doors? What, Davan?
Only the nice ones.
Only the nice ones. Only the ones with the broads and the dames. Okay, so this is where they convince. I don't know. They almost have to trick Lawrence Tierney into going into the hallway here, along with Buddy here, and then they're like, "We're here. We're over a whole world. We can steal everything out here." Oh wait, Wizard of Oz mode. What's happening?
I'm melting.
I'm melting.
Yeah.
So you like to carry on and tell jokes, do you?
Fun fact, the speed of light slows down infinitely in front of a holodeck door.
Well, there you go. So then I guess they had to get the drop on the bad guys here, and then they again now like they can get out, but it's a little slow. Data wants to punch this guy out, you know, which
He has permission to do so.
Yes, permission to do so. And then Data carries out Waylon. And
Okay, I have a big problem with that part of the scene, and that's part of the episode. The
what's
first priority should be getting Waylon to sick bay as fast as possible.
right.
He could die any second.
Correct.
And why are you spending time to punch a guy out? It makes no sense. It's actually kind of infuriating, the fact that this occurs. You
Don't-
know.
Well, I agree. And then on top of that, he's supposed to get back to the bridge, you know, to deliver this important diplomatic message to the Harada. But no, I need to talk with this guy first, you know,
Right.
have this big goodbye. So I'm not real because everyone in the room found out they were holograms, I guess. And this was like the big reveal here. Are my kids and family not at home?
It is super dumb for all of the reasons that you just said, but the way that it's lit and like the smooth jazz kind of piano-y sax soundtrack and like the slatted lighting through the window are very like 40s film noir. That does look really cool. So the content of the scene is dumb, but it looks great.
I'm with you. It looks great.
It does look good. I'll give you that.
Yeah, and like it's nothing about the performances. I'm just like, what? Like it just doesn't make any sense in the story, right? But yeah, so Dixon Hill, Picard walks out, and that guy is left, I guess, to go into oblivion. Then Picard gets to the bridge in his suit. He's here to reveal his Paka. It almost sounded Klingon with his little greeting here, but
Truly props to Patrick Stewart there, because that was ridiculous. And he attacked it with like all his Shakespearean training. He really gave his all in what would have been super stupid in another actor's hands.
Do you know what? Patrick Stewart's like 2 years away from making Dune, and he's like, you know what? I just made the worst rendition of Dune ever. So he's like, this is nothing.
he had already been in Dune.
Yeah, like that's what I said. Like he's 2 years away from making that movie.
No, he's 2 years after.
After started being after, like 2 years
3 years,
after.
4 years after that.
I think it's 84 that he.
Yeah, and this is 88 or 87.
87.
Yeah. So anyway, so everyone claps for him on the bridge here. You know, I don't know. This one guy is even taking over for Data. They don't even let Data take his station back right away. And then there's kind of like there's kind of a moment here between Data and Geordi at the end where he's like, I don't know, he says some more slang. And then they keep going here. I don't know, like step on it instead of engage.
Yeah. So
That's cute.
Is this the precursor to punch it, step on it? That's all I
No.
can think of. it's kind of like punch it. He's like, no, but he's and
Punch
this
it comes from Star Wars, right?
No, he says it in friggin' the original Star Trek, the 2009 Star Trek or whatever it was, right? Pike says it. He goes, punch it.
But didn't Han Solo say that to Chewie back in Star Wars, like in the 70s?
Probably. I don't know.
Punch it,
Yeah,
Chewie.
and I think step on it is like era appropriate for this, for like
Right.
the 40s.
I get the reference, but I'm like, is that where the 2009 people got that stupid like why would Pike say punch it? I'm like,
Because he's cool, Jeff, okay?
all right, fair. It's just something I noticed. I'm like, okay, I thought he was gonna say engage, and then he didn't, and I was
No,
disappointed.
because that's Captain Picard's thing. Everybody has to have their own.
Actually,
No, when Picard said step on it, I was like, I was expecting engage because he just shut Data up from doing his thing, and then he's like, no, I'm gonna do my thing. You know, I'm gonna do my 40s slang. You're not allowed anymore, Data, and Data shut right up.
yeah, in this first season, like even they weren't even necessarily making engage Picard's thing. Like in some of these previous episodes we've watched, Riker sometimes says engage, and I don't know, like it's kind of a little bit inconsistent. But
What did Kirk say?
He would say
Take
engage.
us out. Kirk
Take us
said,
out.
take us out.
Usually,
Take us
yeah.
out.
But he also had said engage at one point, I think. I don't know. Like then it became this whole thing. Like each captain needs like their catchphrase or something.
Well,
That's
punch
more
it is
so
the
with
worst one.
New Trek for sure.
Why didn't Picard record the greeting when he was on screen? That's a good question. There, they would have made it easier. They would be able to tell.
Say he was Picard. I guess he didn't do the thing, the practice.
Oh, they could have had Data do it. Data does a perfect Picard.
Data was in the holodeck.
Yeah, they could have got.
If
But
they were going to record something before,
they would have written something in the script that they'll be able to tell if you try to cheat. So don't you cheat. But we don't really know what the benefit of it was necessarily. Okay, well, since Adam wasn't with us, he was supposed to be on the panel tonight. Jeff filling in for him, but his flight got canceled apparently. A flight to Timmins of all places. Anyway, let's get into details discovered by Dave, and I'll tell you what this. So, the basic premise of this episode was conceived by Gene Roddenberry, who suggested doing a detective story on the holodeck. It was the writer Tracy Torme, however, who added the numerous film noir references in the script, being a fan of the genre. The events of Dixon Hill program, as depicted on the holodeck, were a homage to the 1941 film The Maltese Falcon. The Cyrus Redblock character was based on the character of Casper Gutman, played by Sidney Greenstreet, and Felix Leach was based on Peter Lorre's Joel Cairo. Director Joseph L. Scanlon noted that Picard's office was a homage to the Humphrey Bogart office in the film, with a similar window and Venetian blinds being used. The character of Dixon Hill was originally named Dixon Steele as a homage to Torme's favorite Bogart movie, In a Lonely Place, but it had to be changed because it was too similar to the name of a protagonist in the successful series Remington Steele. You guys like Dixon Hill better than Dixon Steele?
yes.
All right, sounds like it worked out.
Jeff doesn't care.
I don't care. His name's Dix. That's all you need. It doesn't matter what his last name is.
The title of this episode would seem to be a composite of the Raymond Chandler books The Big Sleep and The Long Goodbye, featuring iconic detective Philip Marlowe. In a 2000 online review, Will Wheaton gave this episode an A. He remarked, "We'd done 12 episodes before this, which is half a season, and this was our favorite one to shoot at the time. There isn't an actor in the world, apparently. He says, there isn't an actor in the whole world, Jeff, who doesn't love playing a period piece. And I think our real joy in filming The Big Goodbye cascaded in our performances."
What a bunch of lies. Like,
it goes on.
Just naivety. He's so young, I guess, probably when he said
As
that.
actors, we're clearly enjoying ourselves, so our characters feel relaxed and unself-conscious, except for me, of course. I was supposed to be nervous and self-conscious in this one, but it's a subtle change from some of the earlier episodes. But this is one of the very first times where the audience could really feel the actors and therefore their characters coming together and settling in.
Do you guys feel that? I'm not so sure.
Okay, Gregory Itzin, if you guys are familiar with Gregory Itzin, the actor. He was in he was in like The Walking Dead. He's in, I don't know, 24, various other Firefly. He was apparently originally cast in this episode, apparently as the cop Ignari, but elected to do an episode of L.A. Law instead. He acknowledged big mistake. He acknowledged that The Big
Deep
Goodbye
Space
is
Nine.
now considered a classic and regretted turning down the episode. Itzin went on to appear in several other roles in Star Trek. This episode includes multiple on-screen performances who later appeared in Star Trek. These include Lawrence Tierney, who also played the Regent of Palomar in the Deep Space Nine episode Business as Usual. That's right, he did.
I want to kill about 40 million, 50 million. He's that guy.
Yeah, 50 million, 60 million. But yeah, like it makes more sense for him to be in this episode because he's playing like that gangster character that he always played.
Do you have the note of what Will Wheaton said in his memoir about Lawrence Tierney, about filming with him?
No.
Did you love him?
So it was in The Happiest Days of Our Lives, which is one of Wheaton's memoirs. And he was 15, I think, at the time that they filmed this. And Lawrence Tierney was like a terrifying badass who was bad-tempered. And so there was like a lull in filming. And he says to Will Wheaton, "Hey kid, you play football?" And Will Wheaton goes, "No." And he goes, what are you, sissy? What are you, some kind of F word? And Wheaton was like, no. And then that was the whole interaction.
That sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Apparently on Seinfeld, they hated his guts too. And like that's saying something because on Seinfeld, the entire show is about a bunch of assholes. I mean, really, when you think about it. So for them to say
you think he would fit right in.
Yeah.
I heard similar stories about this guy coming off of like when he was on Reservoir Dogs set. Like he's just kind of a peculiar guy, but had this sort of presence as an actor because he was kind of crazy in real life and he kind of like had this menacing vibe to him.
Well, who knew that a menacing asshole could play a menacing asshole really well?
Whoa, who would have thought? Typecast, if you will. And I did find some of those quotes from Joe.
Oh, you guys like to tell jokes and giggle and kid around, huh? Giggling like a bunch of young bros in the schoolyard.
He seems fun.
He would have fitted right at home on the original series. It would have been like nothing.
Yeah, right. Because the story about him on Seinfeld was like he stole the knife and then he was threatening to stab Jason Alexander or something.
Yeah.
Like there's just like all kinds of crazy stories about him.
Jason Alexander, another Star Trek alum.
Another Star Trek guy as well. This episode was the first Star Trek appearance of David Selberg, who later appeared in the TNG episode Frame of Mind, Caretaker from Voyager, and Enterprise's Carbon Creek. I don't know who he played. Rhonda Aldrich portrayed Dixon Hill secretary Madeline for the first time here. She reprised the part in Manhunt and Clues. And this is also, never mind. This episode marks the third appearance of the Silver Constitution 2 class model in TNG, as we saw in some of those Ready Room scenes. There was a boxing poster shown in the episode featuring DeWay and Johnson, reused again in Star Trek Deep Space Nine's episode Far Beyond the Stars, which is an episode Davan likes. Tracy Torme is listed as the... Yeah, there you go.
I agree.
Tracy Torme is listed as the author of the Dixon Hill stories as a computer on screen. The text from this is like The Listening Man by John A. Moroso, Dangerous Ground by Francis Sill Wickwire, and a fictional detective magazine, National Detective Gazette, that came out with the 1980s computer game The Witness. These illustrations are from various Star Trek books shown on the screen. Okay. I can keep going. Okay, I think this one's
I got one. This episode won a Peabody Award. How the hell does that happen?
For writing?
I don't know. It's like
what is a Peabody Award?
I think it's like when you here. Look, it's an honor described to the most powerful, enlightening, invigorating stories of all television, radio, and online media.
Really?
Yeah.
For this episode, I think someone at the selection committee was like, let's give it to Mel Torme's kid.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good kid. He's working hard over there on Star Trek.
I got another one. This episode marks the first of many holodeck malfunctions in Star Trek. At one point, this episode was scheduled for production after 11001001. And if this had happened, the computer modifications of the binaries would have served to explain the holodeck malfunctions in this episode. But they changed the order, so they couldn't do that. This episode is the first time when holodeck characters become aware that they are holograms. The illustration of characters from Dixon Hill series are from the FASA-based materials. One of the headlines Captain Picard reads is DiMaggio streaks reaches 37. According to the Baseball Almanac, DiMaggio reached that number on June 25th, 1941. There you go, Jeff. So it's supposed to be June. The unnamed baseball player who broke Joe DiMaggio's record for longest consecutive game-hitting streaks was later revealed to be Buck Bokai of the London Kings in the DS9 episode If Wishes Were Horses. And Cyrus Redblack and Felix Leach do not begin to disappear until they have completely exited the holodeck. Subsequent episodes, such as Ship in a Bottle and Voyager's projections, make it clear that a holographic character object will disappear immediately upon passing the range of a holographic projector. This means that the lipstick on Picard's cheek should have disappeared either gradually or immediately after leaving the holodeck, but it was not the case. This is the only episode that briefly shows Tasha Yar in command on the bridge. And we'll go with one more.
Crash the ship.
One more. How about this? Okay. TV Guide, however, criticized this episode as being too derivative of the original series episode, A Piece of the Action, which concerned a planetary culture based on the 1920s gangland Chicago. Tracy Torme dismissed such criticisms as being merely based on the appearance of the three-piece suit.
Okay, let me tell you something. I would rather watch A Piece of the Action 10 times before having to watch this episode again. And not that I dislike this episode, but A Piece of the Action is so much better than this episode. And it was made like 25 years earlier.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Agreed.
Okay.
No Fizbin in this one.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
Oh, really?
You never seen A Piece of the Action? Oh,
No.
You never played Fizbin?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, we can't play. It's on Tuesday.
Yeah.
It is Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, that just changes the rules.
Yeah.
No, right.
And is it nighttime? Oh, it's nighttime, so we could definitely.
Oh, how lucky for you.
Oh, how lucky. Oh, I have to play that now. Like, Kirk explains Fizbin. I know I have Kirk.
I can look. I have that one, I think. I can look.
You have that one too?
Yeah.
I wish I had like a search function now because now that I've added like a gajillion friggin' sounds, it's hard.
Keep going. I'll find it.
Okay. Well, with that in mind, let's go to our ratings, guys. Okay. Well, I'm gonna hide these columns and come in. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Big Goodbye. Not my favorite episode ever. I don't hate it, but it's not. I'd say I'm gonna give it a 5.5, maybe. Like that's kind of where I'm at.
Gentlemen. This card game is a kid's game.
You think so, huh?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I wouldn't waste my time.
Who's asking you?
On Beta Antares 4, they play a real game. It's a man's game, but of course, probably a little beyond you. It requires intelligence.
Listen, Kirk. I can play anything you can figure out.
Take the cards, big man. Show us how it's played.
I'm familiar with the culture on Beta Antares 4.
Fine.
I don't know of any
fine.
games.
Of course, the cards on Beta Antares 4 are different, but not too different. The name of the game is called Fizbin.
Fizbin.
It's
Fizbin.
It's a man's game.
Each player gets 6 cards, except for the dealer, the player on the dealer's right, who gets 7.
On the right.
Yes. The second card is turned up, except on Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Oh, look what you've got, 2 jacks. You got a half Fizbin already.
I need another jack.
No. If you got another jack, why, you'd have a shrunk.
Shrunk.
Yes, you'd be disqualified. So what you need now is either a king and a deuce, except at night, of course, when you need a queen and a 4.
Except at night.
Right.
Right.
Oh, look at that. You got another Jack. How lucky you are. How wonderful for you. Now, if you didn't get another Jack, if you had gotten a king, why, then you'd get another card, except when it's dark, when you'd have to give it back.
If it were dark on Tuesday.
We're talking
What you're
on
after is
Tuesday.
a
You'd have
royal
to give
Fisman.
it
The odds
back.
of getting a royal Fisman are Spock, what are the odds in getting a royal Fisman?
I've never computed them, Captain.
Astronomical, believe me.
Anyway, that's a great scene.
That's a yeah.
I don't know how much y'all have watched the show Friends, but there's an excellent scene with Chandler making up a game to give Joey money, and it's called Cups. And now that I've heard this Star Trek bit about Fizbin, I think that cup scene was heavily referencing that Star Trek
Probably.
episode.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, that's a half a cup.
That's a half a cup.
Oh, yeah, it's so funny. Like it's
Apparently,
so
William
last minute.
Shatner made it all up, like on the set.
Really?
He went-
Made it all
it's
up.
not even
nails
scripted.
it. It's so
not
good.
scripted. Like it's
So good.
it's really well done.
Better than this
How
episode.
lucky
So,
for you.
with that noted, Jeff, what do you want to give this
Okay,
one?
here's the deal. I was gonna give this episode a 4, but that Fizbin clip made me downgrade it to a 3.5.
Did you rate a piece of the action originally? Like,
Yeah, what did I rate it?
It's what's
Probably gave it a good score. I liked it.
piece of the action. You gave it an 8.
Yep. See, I did like it.
Huh?
All right. What did I give it? I gave it a 6. Okay. All right.
But
At
not
night.
on Tuesday.
But not on Tuesday. I would give it much better on Tuesday. Okay, Heather, you're up.
Well, I mean, I didn't love it. It had its charm. It's definitely had its moments. I'm going to give it a 5.
A 5. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, Adam would like to say his rating is all because of Beverly Crusher. Takes him back to when he was 16 years old, swooning over her. He's giving a 9 out of 10.
Adam's pants give it a 9 out of 10.
Listen, you can make your own ratings for whatever reasoning you want.
Right.
Yep.
Mine would have had a lower rating if everybody didn't look so hot in their gangster outfits.
Exactly. So, floors to you, Davin. What are you going to give it
I'll
this?
give it a 6.
The
a
highest score other than Adam.
Okay, a
Which
6.
Adam's score doesn't count because it's highly encouraged by his boner.
A 16-year-old boner of all things. Okay, well, we're averaging a 5.8, everybody, which is the same as the last episode. So, hey, all that in place. Our next episode, though, will be data lore. The introduction of lore.
Mhm.
Who do we have signed up for that one? Right now, I only have Heather signed up for that one. So, I don't know. But if anybody's interested,
I'll come
then-
back if you need me.
Okay. We'll have you. Well, you know, it is about brothers, Jeff.
Right, so I have to be back.
Aw.
We're brothers!
Yeah,
we are brothers.
Yeah.
We are brothers!
When you need that. Okay. Well, so check that out. We'll have about lore. I actually really like that episode. At least I remember liking that episode a lot. So get Ted. You want to get Dad for that one? I don't know. Is Data Lore Dad's kind of episode?
Probably not.
Wait, we don't see Dr. Noonien Soong in Data Lore. We don't meet him yet,
No.
right?
No.
Because you're going to have both of you and Ted for when we meet Dr. Soong for the first time.
Right.
Maybe. That could be with the dad and the two brothers.
Is Lord
Yeah.
the younger brother or the older brother?
Lore's the older brother.
Older.
Right. So you're
Trying
the
to
lore,
trick-
Dave. I'm the data.
He
I
was
don't
built
understand.
perfect.
I'm the
Too
perfect
perfect.
one. I've got the emotions.
Yeah, you're the
You
lore.
made the people jealous.
I made everyone jealous with my
Too human.
superiority. That's how it goes, you know.
Adam's in.
All right. Well, just like that, we have a panel. All right. It's hard to get on this show now. Okay. Where the random D69? Sorry. Where the frig is it? Keep talking.
You know, they
Keep
call
talking.
me Mr. Eel because I'm slippery. and a piece of slime, but I pair well with sake.
Sake. Well,
You'd be great on that new Netflix show, Cheat, because you're so slippery.
Probably. I cheated at canasta once. Never again.
Never again. Yeah, it was a long night that night.
The Regent?
The Regent Qzar.
Anyway.
Davan, what you got going on X-Rated right now?
A week off. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
Next week we'll be reviewing the New Mutants movie, and then we're done with the movies. Last week we reviewed Wolverine and Deadpool. Or Deadpool
Can I say I went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine, and I thought it was amazing. I loved it.
I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a 10 out of 10 for me too. Like it's the best Marvel movie since Endgame, and it's not even close.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, so, Jeff, you liked it? You give it a high rating?
I loved it. I loved every second of it.
You're hard to impress, so that's saying a lot.
It was a great movie. He has that character so down pat, and it's so all the different things he can do with Deadpool. It's like the best.
Dacome the Gambit. He's like, they do, or you want them to?
It's so frustrating.
Much like Captain Picard's first foray into the world of Dixon Hill, Dave is sadly unprepared.
What's Dave looking for?
I don't know.
I don't know.
What are you looking for, Dave?
The point is, like this episode, Heather,
We're
he looks great. And the content
He does look great.
Yeah, the content of the episode, not important, but the looks,
more important.
Well, isn't that why we're here? The looks.
Exactly. Okay, I'm ready now, everybody. Thank you for stalling for me. Okay, well, we're going to wrap things up here for the evening, guys. Thanks to the whole panel for being with us, and the big goodbye with it all said. Okay, heading to your game. Have a good flight, Adam.
Bye, Adam.
Save time in the hometown of Shania Twain, Timmins, Ontario.
Ah.
And with all that said, we'll leave you out here with a Lawrence Tierney quote to finish out the evening.
Whose bed have your boots been under?
Come on, you. Cough off a bucket, cheap bastard. I paid for your goddamn breakfast.
Yeah, we'll see you next time, everybody. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.